Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for the week of January 19th. And sorry, let me try that again. You start here with this No Place Like Home card and this Between Worlds card. The Between Worlds card is kind of like my Purgatory card. It kind of says you are, but it's a good card. I like it. This flamingo is going from like black and white to color. So there, could be a lot more excitement coming in for you. Or you could be, I kind of feel like you're completing something with that card. I would also say that the No Place Like Home card, this could be you like allowing yourself to be happy because we have the sun. Again, sometimes I think when we get uncomfortable, we actually get comfortable being uncomfortable and we stay stuck in things that make us uncomfortable. And so intuitively, I kind of feel with that sun card, the sun is very good, makes the whole entire reading more positive. But I kind of feel like this is saying that you are no longer settling for being uncomfortable. And here you go. You have the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords, he is in pain, but he's not in enough pain to make a change. I always say Nine of Swords is the worst card in the tarot. Although I don't really look at tarot as good or bad. To me, it's loose guidance at best. And also, these are, believe it or not here, Aquarius, these are just pieces of paper with pictures on them, right? So they have no control over your life at all. And, this is just energy to work with. And so I feel a lot of you need to, have fun. Page of Wands, he is following his enthusiasm. He is doing things that make him feel good. So, if you haven't been feeling good for a long time, maybe it's time to, with that Between Worlds card, is to step into some happiness. I would also look at, plain and simple with that Nine of Swords, I would look at the areas of your life where you're settling for less, or anything that is painful but hasn't been painful enough for you to make a change. And if you do that, then obviously there's a lot of happiness that could come in for you. You have amazing cards here. Sun, Three Cups, Wheel of Fortune. These are all cards of happiness. Nine of Cups as well showing up here. And so it's almost like this week is asking you to choose happiness by doing things that make you happy. And again, I think that people don't realize how important it is to be happy at this time because, again, I think that, this is going to sound bad, but really it's not, right? I think there are going to be a lot of things that won't make us happy in the future, but we have to be the ones to change it. So that's why I pretty much beg people to do more things that make them happy in my readings because it's the only way we are going to change things. And yeah, we should start now. You have the King of Cups next. By the way, this first row represents your current general energies. You also have the Queen of Cups, the Page of Cups, Two of Cups. So sure, if you want love, could be a very strong emotional connection coming in for you. The King of Cups and Queen of Cups, again, it's usually like a more emotional kind of spiritual connection between two people. Could be any sign. I'm not really picking up on water, but whatever. Could be any sign, whatever you're into. Just pick a good person, and that's it. The King of Cups also wants you to make sure that you're not drowning in your emotions. He is sitting in the middle of the ocean, and so he has very deep emotions. But again, he makes sure that he does not drown in his emotions. He comes up for air. And that's the important thing to be doing with the King of Cups is to make sure that you are coming up for air, that you're breathing, that you're not just staying stuck in a negative emotional spiral with that Nine of Swords. And definitely seems like something that you should be looking out for at this time. And again, you have the power to change it right now, and I would make sure that you are. You have the Sun, so there's a lot of happiness available to you, I believe, this week, and I would be focusing on happiness with this card if I were you. The other thing that could make you happy is making things easier. I look at every single card as an action. Like there's an action we can take with every single card, right? And the action we can take with the Sun is we can look at areas of our life that are hard and we can make them smoother. We can, anywhere that is causing friction, anything that's slowing us down, we can do our research, learn from other people, learn on YouTube. There's a solution to basically everything on YouTube if you just do enough searching. And so find a new solution, make something that is difficult easier, and your life will get better. And because of that, you will be more happy. And clearly, that is what this reading wants you to do. And so do it, Aquarius. We're going to clarify this real quick. And so let's see what's going on in this first row. With the Page of Wands, sorry, you had the Page of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles pop out. I don't take pop outs, but we'll pay attention to it. With the Page of Wands, you have the King of Wands. The King of Wands is about being bold, assertive, confident, really making something happen, really, kind of like going for what you want at this time, Aquarius. So I would make sure that you are also doing things that you want. Also, could be a fire sign. I feel more fire energy for you. Again, whatever, it's a general reading. It could be any sign, but if you're looking for love, could be a fire sign. Here you go. With the King of Cups, you have the Page of Wands. It's almost like to move in the right direction, you have to be happy, is what this is saying. It's like your emotions have to be stable or secure for you to be able to move in the right direction in the first place. And so that's what I would do with the Page of Wands twice in this reading. He's coming up on that King of Cups. The King of Cups is sitting in choppy waters, on this card, but he is perfectly fine. He's not worried about what's going on around him because he's in control of his emotions. So again, that's why I feel this first row is talking about you choosing to be happy, because it's almost like, yeah, there could be things going on where you're not happy, but the reading itself is saying change it. So, that's what I would do with this energy. Also looks like a lot of movement here in this reading. We have the Wheel of Fortune, Knight of Swords, and the good stuff. So you could be in Page of Wands twice is very adventurous, kind of going on adventures, doing new things. And, again, if you're doing anything like that, could be just a very busy week. I do feel it is, I think the next many years of your life are busy. You're going to have a lot going on. So I do feel you have a lot of good stuff to look forward to, especially in like whatever you do for work. But, with the King and Queen of Cups could also be personal heart-based stuff. They're both very heart-based. And so if there's anything that matters to your heart, that's where you could be getting busy on things that matter to you. With the sun, you have the moon. So the sun and the moon are very different. They're opposite energies, basically. I don't really like the sun and the moon together in love because it can represent two people who are very different. Having said that, I consider myself a holistic reader. I take every single card that's on the table into account. And obviously, if we get a bunch of bad cards in this reading, then, it would say be careful if you're getting with a person that is like too different, if the differences are too much. But at the same time, again, we see very good love stuff coming up in the area of the good stuff. So it could just represent existing differences that need to be overcome. And you have the Two of Pentacles, which can be like a decision or trying to decide if someone would fit into your life. And again, I can't answer that question for you, Aquarius. You have to ultimately be the one to answer that question. Kind of right now, we have the Wheel of Fortune, Nine of Swords. If a person reminds you of a past person, I would be very careful. This could represent repeating a mistake or repeating a cycle. And so it's kind of like, I think we do pick the same type of person because we know what we're going to get. So, I've read for a bajillion people since I've been on YouTube. And, I've read for so many people where it's like every single person, and this is not a criticism. I've done it, you've done it, we've all done it, right? And where it's like we pick the same type of person. And I think because it's a comfort zone, and so, it could be saying avoid a comfort zone, like the Between Worlds card says. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Maiden. It says a new relationship blossoms. There you go. You have this card. It says strength and wisdom. Yeah, you're definitely going to have to trust your wisdom, like what you know about people and what you have experienced. I think that's what's going to give you the best answer, especially if you're attracting love. I don't think this is just love, though. This could be a relationship to a job. It could be a relationship to something that you're working on, something that you're going to be, creating. Could be a business, could be a work idea, whatever. And I feel this is saying you have the experience necessary to make this a happy situation or happy outcome, but you have to choose it. You have the Queen of Cups, the Two of Pentacles, and the Nine of Cups. Queen of Cups says your heart knows. The Queen of Cups, she really values what her heart is telling her to do. She has this big cup right here, and that big cup kind of looks like a trophy, and so she is really valuing what her heart is telling her to do. She follows her heart. So, it could be a good time for you to do that. I think, one of the challenges for Aquarius, not really a challenge necessarily, but, maybe it's just something that's on your mind is what I would say, is that a lot of you could be feeling a pull away from what you've been doing for a very long period of time. So, you could be feeling pulled to just have a new beginning, which, again, you could be like, do I want to take the risk of leaving this thing that I've built for a long time? Could be your career, could be yourself, could be whatever. And, but again, I think your heart is leading you towards happiness. And, this is saying that it's time to experience happiness. I think the simple thing for you, Aquarius, is to look at what you've been doing in life and to look at those areas of your life where there hasn't been any growth. And those are the areas of life that I would be choosing to grow. Those are the areas of life where I would say, okay, I need to change the cycle, Wheel of Fortune, Nine of Swords, or I need to find a better way of doing whatever I'm doing in this part of my life. And, I feel like that's what the Queen of Cups is encouraging. You have the Two of Pentacles. I don't know. I feel like you've been juggling in your brain for a long time. I think you've been trying to make a decision on what to do next for a very long period of time, maybe years. And I mean, you always get the Seven of Cups with me. Just thinking back on, the past many years of readings with you, it's like you go back and forth. And, maybe this is the time where you're finally going to make a decision. The good news for you, Aquarius, is I feel like you have a few more weeks. Like, there's no real rush in making this decision about your life. And, some of you, this could be like a significant change that you're making within your life. So definitely something that has required time to think about. But as always, I think you always get the Two of Pentacles with me as well. And, these waves start small over here and they get bigger over here. I always feel this for you, Aquarius, where it's like something, I think something is on your mind more and more and more and more. It's like those waves are building. Two of Pentacles, again, sometimes I just think we're thinking about something that our attention is thinking about more and more and more. And whatever that thing is, it's like time to make a decision there. You have the Nine of Cups, which is great. Nine of Cups says like what it would be wish fulfillment. What would wish fulfillment look like for you? Nine of Cups can be a card of making a wish, but I always say that what's more important with the Nine of Cups is that we get into alignment with the wish, that we match the energy. The whole point of the card is that he's chubby because he's about to have a feast, and that he's chubby because he's had a feast before. It basically says to have a wish, we have to have the wish before we have it. And people always say, how is that possible? And I always say, you just have to match the energy, the habits, you just have to take the actions you would take if you already had a wish, right? And if you do that, then sure, wish granted here, Aquarius. With the Queen of Cups, you have the Three of Cups. Yeah, definitely a good week for putting yourself in happy situations. If there's anything that will lead to fulfillment or make you feel fulfilled, those are the things I would do. It could be, getting together with friends, going out and celebrating, having fun. It's almost like fun is more important than anything for you right now, Aquarius. I think that's where you will get your answers on what your next steps should be. With the Two of Pentacles, here you go. You have the Star. Yeah, it's like the thing with the Star is it's like something big. Sun, moon, and star, it's kind of like you have this big dream or this big idea or this big thing you want to do with your life. And the sun, moon, and star together in a reading can represent kind of like the journey, the process, the journey of, creating that big dream or whatever it is. So the sun, moon, and star is actually good in a reading. And, the sun and the star especially can represent focusing on this North Star, this big goal, or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. The moon is kind of like the more spiritual side of the journey of kind of starting by planting the seed in your imagination of something that you want to accomplish. And then, like I said, the sun and the star is the physical actually going on the journey to accomplish it. So that looks pretty good. Plus, the star is you. The star, whenever you show up as yourself, kind of puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. With the Nine of Cups, you have the Death card. Like I said, significant change coming in at this time. The thing about the Death card is we have the sun coming up between the two pillars that are on the moon right here. So it can represent kind of going through, getting into a sun period where you're getting answers or where things are more clear. I'm pretty sure your past couple readings have been talking about you getting answers, but don't just let an answer be an answer. There's something about this reading that is saying next step to me. It's like saying, yeah, sure, you could be getting an answer, but take the step. Don't just like sit there and stare at it, right? Make the move. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this nourish card and this record card. Yes, I think that we are in a time of nourishment. We are kind of like in a time of growth where we have to grow. And I feel like the nourish card is saying you need to feed the things that you want to see grow. It is pretty simple. Again, things are changing. I think the energy is going to be very different from basically the end of 2025 moving forward. So obviously, yes, today is January 14th of 2026. This will be published on the 15th. So yeah, we're already into 2026. We have to nourish and grow the things we want to see grow. Air signs, I am definitely a big fan of you becoming a nerd right now. And like tracking things that you're doing and paying attention to what's working. This could be, if you're working on a project, like keeping a journal, or if you're a super nerd, putting together a spreadsheet, I think would be a good idea as well. The thing that I also think we should be doing, because Neptune is changing signs, this is going to sound maybe silly, but it's like, I have other businesses, and like one thing I've been doing, and one of them is like whenever something works, I like sit there and I'm like, I literally tell myself, this worked right here. And I'm tracking it. I'm tracking what's working. I'm like, this worked. Like I make sure to tell my brain that's what worked. Why am I doing that? Because I think when we do that, what we're basically doing is we're training our brain to pay attention to intuition. So, especially if you're like in a business or a career where you kind of have to make a guess on something, and then when it's correct in the future, you need to tell yourself that was correct, right? That was a good decision. And it's kind of like we're reinforcing our intuition in the future, if that makes sense. I know that sounds ridiculous, but try it and let me know how it goes. Speaking of let me know, make sure to leave a comment, subscribe, all that other good stuff. Really helps me out. You have the Three of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Nine of Swords. Three of Cups is like a celebration, happiness. These three ladies are celebrating a harvest, and so, Pluto in your sign until like 2043 or whatever it is, 2044, something like that. I would say that getting help from other people, allowing people to help you to grow, working with other people, all that would be good for you, Aquarius, and will lead to a lot of harvests in the future. So definitely something I would do. You have the Wheel of Fortune. It's weird that we have the Wheel of Fortune and the Nine of Swords. It's like positive cycle, negative cycle, with the Wheel of Fortune and then the Nine of Swords. So it's like maybe you have a choice between a positive or a negative cycle in your life. Wheel of Fortune wants us to double down on the good stuff. And again, that's why I'm telling people that you, like, whatever you're trying to grow in life, like, pick one thing and journal it. Just journal the results that you're getting. It'll change your life. Because, I think people don't realize that sometimes we don't notice what is really working until we can notice the pattern over time, right? It's like patterns we become aware of them over time. And if we're like journaling about some change we're making in business or something we're working on, and then over time we can look back at that journal and be like, oh, this one thing keeps working, and then you can double down on it in the future, it'll change your life. So, I would really be paying attention to patterns, cycles, positive and negative, because the other part of the Wheel of Fortune is we need to take care of challenges right away instead of letting things become monsters in our life. So doing that will be good. You have the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is a never-ending nightmare. I feel like there's something, like I said at the beginning of the reading, it just feels like something that you're settling for or have settled for, and you need to not settle for it. Again, he's in pain, but he's not in enough pain to make a change. So, there could be one or two things going on in your life that are just not perfect or are causing a little bit of pain. And I feel this is saying do not ignore those things, whatever they are. With the Sun, you can find a solution, or with the Sun, you can find a way to make it better. With the Three of Cups, you have the Eight of Swords. Yeah, I would definitely get out. I'm sorry to beat a dead horse here, but I always tell a story. It's like I was stuck in my room doing nothing with my life when I was younger for like 4.5, 5 years. And I was like punishing myself for not making money, basically. And I was always like forcing myself to try to do things to make money, and nothing was working because I was trying to push it, right? And it wasn't until, like, the first thing I started doing is walking, but the second thing I started doing was going out with friends and, getting out of my head. And it's like, that's where all my answers came from. when I started doing that is when I started this channel. And so, you know what I mean? It's like once I started getting out of the house and doing things changed. So, the Three of Cups can actually say, like, sometimes, like, I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes I think when things are going bad, it's like we are punishing ourselves, or we're saying, I can't go do this because I need to make money right this second. But it's like, if you're in that situation, maybe you're not going to make money right that second. So wouldn't it be better to go get out of your head where you could potentially get an idea that makes you money tomorrow, right? Is that really that big of a deal? Probably not. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like the great escape is what I want to call this, Aquarius, now. It's like there's this sandwich going on here. We have a Eight of Swords, Nine of Swords sandwich, and it's like this is the path through the stuck energy. And so for a lot of you, you really, this is pretty good. This could be an opportunity that really pulls you out of a stuck energy. So I would be paying attention to energies or opportunities that need to be nourished. The Ace of Pentacles, you have to treat it like a garden. You have to water it, feed it, fertilize it. You have to grow it. So it's like an opportunity that requires work, but, that could get you out of the situation. Yeah, with the Nine of Swords, you have the Four of Pentacles. Every day is the same, basically. Nine of Swords can be like Groundhog's Day energy. Four of Pentacles can represent, just being stuck in that Groundhog's Day energy. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you can't make this up, you have the Sun. It says, the Sun is coming to shine a light on what's been kept hidden to reveal the truth. So again, you could be getting like some inspiration, or I don't really think the Ace of Pentacles is an inspiration. I think it's more of an opportunity. You have this Koi fish. It says, you're manifesting more love, prosperity, and wealth into your life. That looks amazing, Aquarius. So, choose the love, prosperity, and wealth, of course, with these two energies, and it'll be good. You have the Knight of Swords, the Page of Cups, and the Two of Cups. I feel like you're creating distance. Those are the words that are popping into my head with this Knight of Swords. It's like if you're squeezing through the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords with that Ace of Pentacles, this to me, like, I feel good about this. You're like creating distance from whatever that thing is that's been keeping you stuck for a long time. It is kind of saying to me, the more distance you create, the better. And so again, I think this is where the whole journaling thing comes in. If you've been in the squeeze, if you've been between two worlds, being able to look at those patterns, that will create more distance, for example. And that's what he's saying. You have the Page of Cups. Page of Cups could be new love, and there's definitely a lot of love in this reading. So if you're hoping for a new connection, this could be a love offer or an admirer that's coming in for you at this time. I kind of feel like this could be between like now and March. So yeah, it's a weekly reading, but it's showing up at the end. The end of the reading for me is a future position. And so this might not be coming in like today, but I think soon. You have the Two of Cups. Two of Cups, they are very different. So again, this could be like a sun-moon connection. Sometimes sun and moon can be very bad. Sometimes sun and moon can actually be very good. If you respect each other's differences and both people just let themselves be free, then like I said, it could be better than anything you've ever experienced before. So definitely could be a new connection. With the Knight, here you go. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Chariot. Yeah, setting yourself apart. He is leaving that city behind him. Behind everything is the same in that city. That's why he's going to maybe create his own city. He's going somewhere where he can live life according to his own terms. That's what this whole entire reading is talking about. It's like talking about you setting yourself up for success. And he is creating distance. I don't think I've ever said that in a reading before, but you are definitely creating distance. Here you go. With the Page of Cups, you have the Sun. We have the Sun like basically 3 times in this reading. So again, could be something or a person that makes you very happy, or there could be a lot of happiness in a connection, which is good. With the Two of Cups, you have the Two of Pentacles again. So, this could be a person that you already have your eye on, Aquarius, and it's like maybe you've been going back and forth on whether or not to accept this connection. So, I don't know. The choice is yours. You have this Pig card. It says, beware of greed. Yeah, I would be careful of greedy people. I think we're going to see a lot of greed, actually. Saturn, Neptune, and Aries, once we get past February. Neptune will be January 26th. Saturn will be February 13th. But I would start paying attention now. I think we're entering into a time, we've been in a time of pressure. I think pressure kind of pushes people to do weird things sometimes. And so we should avoid people like that, obviously. You have this crib, it says birth or conception of a child or an enterprise. Yeah, it's like the Eight of Swords, Nine of Swords with the Ace of Pentacles in the middle. It's like this pressure, pressure squeeze, birthing a new opportunity or birthing something that will change your life. You have this valley, it says deep personal strength and peace that'll assure success. Love it. This is about nurturing the happiness, right? It's like we have to be in that position of peace. It's like I don't think we operate as humans very well when we are in that heightened state of anxiety, emotion, negative emotion, whatever. And so we have to like bring it down to get those, we have to put ourselves in a peaceful energy so we can get better answers. You have this elephant, it says long journey, either physical or mental, will leave you wiser at the end. You've been on a long journey, for sure. And, you have that Between Worlds card. So it's like maybe you're finally finishing that journey here, Aquarius. You have this casket. It says someone going out of your life or the end of a situation. I think you're getting out of this like stuck energy, really. So feels pretty good to me. I like this reading for you, Aquarius. It's definitely different, but good. So thank you for being here. Make sure to like, subscribe, all the other good stuff. And definitely enjoy your week.